Pam with BeeCreative Crafts. Welcome back to my channel and night 3 of my Christmas craft tutorials. Tonight I'm going to show you how I made my nutty little snowman. I made 3 sizes of snowmen, a small 2-inch that you can hang on your tree, a 3-inch, and a 4-inch. You are going to need hex nuts, something to use for his hat, fabric for his scarf, a strong adhesive, and some type of string if you're making the hanging ornament. For the hanging ornament, I picked up a spool of thin ribbon for his scarf. For the 3-inch and 4-inch snowmen, I used a bundle of flannel fat quarters that I picked up from Walmart and cut them into strips. For the 3-inch snowman, I cut the strips about 3/4 of an inch wide and 8 inches long. For the 4-inch snowman, I cut the strips 1 inch wide and 9 inches long. I used my rotary cutter and my cutting mat to cut the strips. You're going to need a strong adhesive like E6000 or Gorilla Glue. Be sure to pick up the ones that dry clear because some of the strong adhesives do dry white. If you're making different size snowmen like I did, I suggest you sort your hex nuts by size and then do a test stack before gluing. This step is just to make sure you're using the right size nut to get the finished snowman height you want. Once your test stack looks good, it's assembly time. I'm using E6000 for my project. The size that I'm demonstrating here is the 3-inch. For the base, I used a 3/4 inch hex nut. On one of the sides, put a small dab of E6000 in the center. You won't need a lot. His midsection is a 5/8 inch hex nut. The nuts I bought have engraving on one side. While the glue is still wet, it's easy to turn the nuts so all of the writing is facing the same way. Set this section aside for about 15 minutes to let the glue begin to set up before attaching his head. This step may not be 100% needed, but when I was assembling mine, they kept wanting to slide around. By letting the glue set up a little, it makes them easier to handle and less chances of the bottom coming off while attaching his head. For the 3-inch snowman, I used a 1/2 inch hex nut for his head. Before attaching his head, I checked to see which side the engraving was on to make sure the writing was all facing the same way. And honestly, it's not that noticeable, but I just wanted it all the same. Once his head is on, turn your snowman around and check him out from all angles to make sure he's lined up to your liking. Then set him aside for about 15 minutes before gluing on his hat. Here is the 4-inch snowman. His base is a 1-inch hex nut, 3/4 inch for his midsection, and a 5/8 inch for his head. This is one I started last year, and the E6000 is holding strong. If you're using a nut washer combo for the hat, you can glue it on now. If you are using the hat ornament, which I'll show you how to prep here in just a bit, you'll want to add your scarf now before gluing the hat on. Grab one of your strips of fabric or ribbon, or if you're feeling extra crafty, you can crochet or knit a scarf for your snowman. Then all you have to do is tie it around the neck section. Now let's add his hat. I'm going to show you several hat options starting with the washer nut combo. The middle of the washer nut combo is open, so when using this for your hat, you will need to put the glue on the outer edges of the side instead of in the center. Place the hat on his head, then set him aside so the glue can dry. Another hat option is this hat ornament I picked up at Walmart. It's the perfect size for the 4-inch snowman. They come 3 in a pack. You'll need to remove the clip from the ornament. Then, using one of your 5/8 inch hex nuts or the head, trace around it as a guide for the opening. I used a chalk marker for this step. Using a box cutter or knife, cut out the center. You may need to chip away some more of the styrofoam middle for a good fit. Fill the opening with hot glue and place it on his head. The hex nuts have given your snowman some weight, so be sure to lift him by the base instead of his hat. Keep in mind, hot glue is not strong enough to hold the nuts together, but worked great for attaching the hat ornaments. Fun fact, E6000 will dissolve or melt the styrofoam center, creating a more worn look to the hat. I wasn't sure what the final outcome would be, so that's why I switched to the hot glue for this step. For the 3-inch snowman, I used a 3/8 inch washered nut free spinning that I picked up at Lowe's. It came in the darker color, making it the perfect snowman hat. Axle cap nuts also make cute snowman hats. For the 3-inch snowman, I used a 1/2 inch nut. One more hat option. I couldn't find a washer nut in one combo small enough for the hanging ornament, so I picked up some 1/4 inch flat washers and spray painted them a black matte. Then I glued a 1/4 inch hex nut to it. The ones shown here are in silver, but I was able to find the 1/4 inch nuts in the darker metal. For the hanging ornaments, you will need to add the hanger before gluing on the hat. I started using fishing line, but found this thin ribbon worked great too, and it laid flat, allowing for a secure bond between the hat and the head. I'm going to use this red yarn to demo how to make your hanger. Cut your yarn ribbon or whatever you've chosen to use about 8 to 10 inches long. You can always trim it if you need to. Fold it in half and tie a knot at the end, creating a ring. Put the tail or knotted end through the opening of the head nut. Take the tail in and pull it through the loop. Give it a tug to pull tight around the nut. You'll add a dab of glue to either side. Grab your hat and thread your tail through the opening, then push the hat down in place. Adding the hanger before the hat is much easier than adding it after. Bringing the hanger through the center of the hat allows the ornament to hang straight. Don't forget to let the glue set after attaching the hat. After the glue has had time to dry for a few minutes, go ahead and add the scarf to your snowman. When making the scarves, I cut the flannel fabric strips in varying sizes so I could create a matching snowman family. I decided to add a little hot glue to the scarf to keep it in place. I added a small dot under the front flap to hold it down and a small dot on the side where it's tied. And now you're finished making your snowman. Keep in mind, E6000 takes a good 24 hours to set up and should be fully cured after 48 hours. I would definitely wait 24 hours before handling them too much to prevent them from falling apart. Check out my blog for more details on where I picked up my supplies. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Until next time, happy crafting!